Why should you listen to strangers on the internet? Why should you believe anything anyone says on the internet? Even if they have proof, if they have screenshots of bank accounts, if they have statements, if they have business partners that say that they did what they say they did. You can fabricate it all, especially with AI now. But why should you believe someone on the internet? I mean, truth of the matter is you probably shouldn't. You probably shouldn't take them at face value or take them at 100% truth. There's probably a little bit of something that got misconstrued or maybe isn't exactly what they're saying, or maybe you're just interpreting it a little bit differently than they meant it. But when you're looking at taking advice or guidance from somebody on the internet, sorry, I'm eating my words here again, having the discernment to be able to say, hey, look, this person is selling a course on something they know nothing about versus this person has done what they're talking about multiple times, and having the discernment to see the difference in the two, in the way they speak, in the way they act, and in the way they operate, at least as far as what they'll show you, is going to be immeasurably useful for you. Not just in this season of trying to figure out what you want to do, what's next, what you should try, but also in the future when you're looking at the next level, when you're looking for mentors, when you're looking for networking groups, when you're looking for opportunities in all these other spaces, using the discernment that you need to build now is going to help you forever. And I say that as somebody who fell for the Robert Kiyosaki, you need to buy gold, buy real estate, and pretty much just keep spinning that over until you're, a trillionaire in real estate. I fell for that. I sold so much of my stuff to try and go buy properties. And then I fell for the online gurus who were talking about day trading. I fell for that hook, line, and sinker. So I started day trading. However, I didn't buy a course. I had a mentor who taught me how to day trade, made a pile of money in it, but I also didn't use any of the strategies or methods that they had because I had a little bit of discernment at the time where I saw this 16-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid who all of a sudden was making millions of bucks a month day trading in their third month, when that's just not the reality of day trading. Like, it's not how that works. And so the discernment to say, hey, maybe I don't go that route. Maybe I try the route that this guy that I work with, who later became my trading mentor, taught me, was that, hey, you got to build slowly because that's the name of the game. I was doing binary options trading. And the platform on which I traded, you had the opportunity to make up to 94 or 96% on every trade. But the downside risk was 100% of the trade. So truth be told, the risk reward wasn't great, but with the strategies he taught us and using discernment to know whether or not these candlesticks were following the patterns and the trends that he showed us how to trade, using discernment in those situations helped me to make a pile of money day trading. But it also didn't come in my first 3 months. It came after months of training and then 5 months of 20-hour days trading. Even when the markets weren't open, I was trading on my prop account. I was doing research. I was watching the news. I traded a lot off of news. And then I won't get into the whole strategy, but yeah, I was trading a lot off of news and things like that. And so when it came down to actually achieving something, that discernment saved me thousands of dollars in course costs and probably tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost trades because I wasn't following some BS strategy that a kid was trying to sell everybody and anybody, because every dollar is a good dollar to these guys. And when you're looking at trusting somebody on the internet, I'll use myself as an example for marketing. There's 1,000 people probably closer to 100,000 or 200,000 who are talking about marketing and talking about their thoughts, their opinions, their approach to marketing and how they feel it would be best executed or how you should be doing things. But a good chunk of them don't have any credentials. A good chunk of them had an entry role at some marketing agency. Maybe they were doing data entry. Maybe they were doing social media comments. I actually saw this from somebody. They were replying to comments on social media for a company, and they thought that they were now qualified to create a full social media course on how you should be running your social media. Now, granted, they will have some expertise on the comment side, on the interaction side. And if they're bright, they'll probably have talked to the rest of the team and gotten some more information on the rest of it. But to have the qualification to really do that without building their own socials first or without doing it for clients or doing it for anyone else, even selling through social on their own, it doesn't really hold any real value. There's no meat on those bones. And so for myself, before I started my agency, I needed to make sure that I was qualified, that I was able to actually feel good about offering somebody else my service. Because at the end of the day, they're putting their trust into me. It's not just, 99th Media. It's not this overarching thing. It's in me. I'm the one who's client facing still for my agency. And so that said, I had to achieve what I felt was reasonable to start my own agency before I did. Here are a couple of those things just for reference. I'm not bragging. This isn't anything to try and shit on anybody else. I just want to tell you guys what I felt I had to do before I started my agency. So before I started my agency, I'll give you first the goals that I wanted to hit before I started it, and then I'll give you my actual credentials. So before I started my agency, I wanted to help make clients $10 million. I thought $10 million is a really good spot. That's a bit, at the time, it was a huge number to me. And I never helped anyone make quite that much before. I had done sales and marketing for some hotel chains, and I made them probably at this point now, I'd probably be close to $10 million. But at the time, it was about 1.3 to 3.5 in there, depending if you're including all the corporate contracts. Anyway, I wanted to help people make $10 million. I wanted to win some type of award, and I wanted to be able to offer multiple disciplines of marketing. So I wanted to be able to do paid ads, and I wanted to be able to do social media, and I wanted to know how to make a website, and I wanted to know how to do SEO at a very base level. Now, I'm going to show you something here in a minute. Here are the things that I did before I started my agency. So I was directly responsible. That means I managed, created, and had direct input consistently. This isn't just, I touched it. My name was in the credits. I was responsible. I led a team that did these things, okay? For over $240 million in revenue generated for our clients. I led a marketing campaign during COVID that saved multiple hotels worldwide from bankruptcy and from shutting down completely. This was as part of an international hotel group that I helped, okay? I did over $1.5 million in revenue for the first client that we got in our agency in 90 days. The reason we could do that is because I took the time to get qualified before I started the thing. I'm not saying you have to know everything or that you need to spend 10 years learning and doing all this other stuff before you start the business. But when you start the business and you're qualified, you're going to be able to get results like that right away because you know what you're doing. You don't have to learn how to do the job and how to run the business and exist all at the same time. If you do the things in sequence, what I've found is you're going to be more successful for your clients, at least within the agency space. And now here's a couple more wins just from our agency over the last couple of years here that show that we wasn't just a one-off lucky thing. We helped a client in my home city here add over $400,000 in revenue within their first year of running ads. And now this wasn't on a ginormous budget. That was under $10,000 in ad spend. I believe our return on ad spend for them, a lifetime average, was over 46 to 1, with a couple of months being over 100 to 1 average across the whole month. For another metal shop in town here, because we did niche down, and so we are working with a very, very specific type of client, which is great for us, but not for everybody else who can't get to our services. But we did 351 to 1 return on ad spend for a metal shop here. They spend a few $100s a month on ads, and we got them tens of thousands of dollars of contracts back. It was ridiculous. And now we're going to go back just to one more big win from before I started the agency. And this is the one that really gave me a lot of confidence that I was who I thought I was going to become already. And I was who I thought I wanted to be before I started the agency. That gave me a lot of confidence to actually start the agency. So I helped scale a manufacturer in the United States from $20 to $50 million. And that's not like lifetime revenue, that's per year. So they started when they were at 20, sorry, there's children screaming outside my house. When they were at $20 million, I took over the account. I helped them scale to $50 million a year through paid ads, social media, SEO, all that good stuff. That said, when I was able to prove to myself that I was equipped with the skills, that I was good enough to do the thing, I had zero trouble doing the thing. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're making millions of bucks a year in the agency profit, but we're making millions and millions and millions a year for our clients. This is not something that I want to sit here and brag on. This is not something I want to sit here and gloat or try and make anyone feel bigger or smaller than they are. This is just to say, like, if you know what you're doing and you have a plan and you stick to the plan, you're going to be able to achieve the things you want to achieve. My plan from when I was working at the hotel still was that I wanted to make a pile of money. I really wanted to make a pile of money. I won't get into why right now, but I've got reasons. And it was more than just having a sweet bank account. I wanted to get into marketing. I started dabbling, and then I realized, oh, I'm actually good at this. And then I decided, hey, I'm going to figure out a way to start an agency. Did I get sidetracked? Absolutely. I went off and I did day trading. I went off and I tried to start a cologne business. I went off and got a job in marketing, and none of those things worked out. But now, without those failures, I wouldn't have the mindset. I wouldn't be where I am today without all of those things to build me into who I am, to build a resilience, and to ultimately bring me to this position where I'm able to now say, we've made hundreds of millions of dollars for clients over the years. My team and I are directly responsible for over $300 million brought into clients that we've served. Without all of that hardship and without all of that failure, we can call it, because I guess call it what it is, I don't think I would have the resilience to have fought through slow months, to have fought through months where we lost one of our big clients or a couple of clients. I don't think we've ever lost 2 clients in 1 month, and we've only lost a couple clients. But when you don't lose clients often, when your churn is pretty much zero, it really hurts when someone churns out. And so when someone churns and that relationship goes sour for quite literally no good reason, that hits you. Especially me, when I come from a client success, a customer service background, and now having essentially the biggest failure possible from that world happen to me when it's on my own dollar from my own company with my own name, it sucks. And so without all of that failure, without all that bullshit, that resilience wouldn't be there. And so all that to say, start the business if you want, but please, if you're doing a service, have some sort of qualification, at least know how to do the thing. Watch a YouTube video, that's good enough. I don't care. But just before you do the thing, maybe just watch a YouTube video or learn how to do the thing. Because there's so many agencies out there that say, oh yeah, we can do that for you. And then they go on Fiverr and spend $35 to go have some guy from Bangladesh do it. And that's fine if the quality of work is adequate. But that's why a lot of agencies don't last. We have an agency in town here. There's a guy, he's a couple years younger than me. He started an agency and he beat me out on probably 40 contracts, 40 big contracts. And he farmed it all out to some small country where the rate for somebody to do the work was pennies on the dollar. And while that's a really smart business move, if you can get quality people and quality work, he didn't. He didn't vet them. And he ended up losing these businesses a ton of money. They didn't get any return. They ended up firing him and he had to shut down his agency. He now does pressure washing. And that's fine to fail. It's fine to fail. But make it for a good reason. Don't just fail because you don't want to do the hard thing. Yeah, this is a little bit all over the place. A little bit heated, a little bit passionate. I don't know. There's just been a lot going on mentally with this whole thought process and this conversation that I want to have. And so I felt like it's finally time to share that. But yeah, hope this helps.